Hi, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Craft on Tap. We talk about growth marketing for RIAs. We are your hosts, Stephen Beach and Faustin Weber from Craft Impact. Craft Impact is an outsourced CMO and digital marketing team for RIAs who are looking to grow. And so today we're going to talk about LinkedIn tips and tricks for 2026. So right behind the Mariah Carey and the Jingle Bells playlist that you got on Spotify, hopefully you're doing some continuing ed on LinkedIn, preparing through the holiday season here and getting ready for 2026 social media marketing strategy. That's what we're here for. Hopefully you're here for it with us. Faustin is going to talk about LinkedIn from a personal and professional perspective, I believe, right, Faustin? You've
Yes.
called it your arch nemesis. So just kind
Yeah, we have
of
a
get
love-hate
into it with us.
relationship.
Okay, why is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I would say, I love LinkedIn for so many reasons. Getting into marketing, it has been just an incredible professional development tool for me, engaging with other marketers, learning globally from creators who have the most innovative, brilliant ideas I could possibly think of, right? I mean, me just getting on LinkedIn 10 to 15, 20 minutes every day is almost equivalent to like an entire conference that I've gone through for some sort of real like professional development day. So I do think that there's still like so much value in LinkedIn and all the wonderful things that people are sharing. Um, Not just for you as like a professional, but also for you as an advisor for potential clients, potential prospecting. Um, I say that I hate it is because I think from the platform perspective, they've really killed organic reach, impressions, engagements, the last like 12 to 18 months. And what I mean by that is posts from people that just post without paying for any ad spend are not doing nearly as well. You could really expect, back in 2023, if you had a really good post, it was going to get to most of your followers and that they were going to have an opportunity to engage, right? Now, we have clients, we have me professionally, you professionally, that it doesn't seem to always line up even like the number of followers with the number of total impressions they get. Sometimes you'll look at the impressions and it's like, oh, my post got like 1/10 of the followers, which doesn't seem to make any sense. So they've obviously made some algorithmic changes to make it more conducive, more incentivizing for people to spend money. And so that's why I say I have a love-hate relationship with it. That being said, it's still a great platform. A lot of our clients still use it. We still have it as like a primary channel. And and actually, Stephen, I was going to say that I just saw in the last couple of weeks that they even have, when you do a post now, they have a little message that says you can boost your post. All you got to do is spend a little money to
Shameless.
boost your post and get it to your own followers. So now you're
Just
like
a
having to,
shameless
they're
plug.
trying to incentivize you to pay to even get it to the people that are following you. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so anyway, I guess they've changed their business model a little bit, but still one of my favorite platforms. I still prefer LinkedIn uh, in terms of its effectiveness to Instagram. It's really hard to grow an Instagram following. I feel like LinkedIn is definitely a more impactful platform for a lot of the target audiences that our clients are going after in the advisory field. And then another huge benefit of LinkedIn is I just feel like the data, and I don't even want to say data, the people, the profiles are so much easily more identifiable and more accurate. It's very difficult. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the social accounts are very like rarely lined up with the actual individual that you're trying to engage or get engagement with. And so on LinkedIn, right, everyone has their professional real life photo for the most part, what they do. And so you can just get a lot more information out of them, out of their profiles. When you have somebody that books a discovery call with you and you're trying to do a little bit of research, or if you're just trying to look up your target audience to learn a little bit more about them, LinkedIn's a much better platform than some of the other less professional platforms. Would you agree with that, Steven?
Yeah, like you can be a little bit more confident. You can be a lot more confident feeling that the people that are on there, the research that you're doing on a target audience, let's say, any kind of demographic research that you're doing should be rooted in something that's more verified. Yeah, because it's supposed to be a professional networking platform. If we go
Yeah.
back, remember where it came from. This was all about professional networking. It was never, back then it wasn't about content creators and, a platform for that. It's shifted into that, obviously. But I think the thrust of it was like verified professionals networking with each other on a social media tool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really well said. Yeah, so even like you're measuring your own post effectiveness, right? I mean, you can't always do this based because a lot of people are watching from afar or observing your posts rather than engaging. But you can even go through and see who's commented or engaged based on their demographic versus Instagram. And you see all the likes and you can go and see who liked, but you're like, who is this person, right? There's no identifiable characteristics of it. So that's one of the benefits. So is it a
Yep.
good key marketing channel? Like, is it a good marketing channel for you? And as with everything in marketing, you got to think of your target audience. I talked to an executive at KPMG a couple of years ago, in his late 30s, early 40s, in a executive, like higher senior, maybe not a C-level executive, but one in the senior director role, um, a tech professional, one that a lot of our RIA clients would be going after. And he said at KPMG, the company was really pushing LinkedIn, like telling employees they need to be on, reposting, posting all the time. It was just like a big push by their company for them to be using LinkedIn throughout the workday, right? And so, like, something like that tells you as a marketing, from your marketing slant, LinkedIn's going to be a great platform to try to attract them because not only are you trying to rely on them to do it in their personal time, but they're actually on the computer during business hours being told to engage. You know that they're going to be using the platform. So it's a great opportunity to get in front of them. So I think you just have to think about that, right? Versus like somebody in the medical profession, like a nurse, for instance, who is not on LinkedIn as part of their day-to-day operations in their business role, wouldn't really have that much of a reason to get on LinkedIn, except if they're changing jobs. They might look at it occasionally. All you got to do is go in and start looking up some nurses, right? And to see that they don't really care about their LinkedIn profile and they haven't engaged at all for years.
Mhm.
So that wouldn't be a good channel for you to focus on if you're trying to attract nurses, right? Like you're like, okay, well, I'm going to post a lot on LinkedIn. None of the nurses are going to be on there, right? Or there may be a few, but they're not going to be the ones that really maximize the time that you're spending on marketing. You want to try to pick another channel, right? So I think that's just like the first thing to determine whether or not, it's just like everything in marketing, determine whether or not you are going to prioritize LinkedIn or if you're going to put LinkedIn on maintenance mode and focus on another channel. You got to make sure that the audience engages with LinkedIn, right? And so there's a couple ways you can do that other than a little bit of preliminary research, looking through some of the profiles for the target audience. You can use a tool like Spark Toro. Absolutely love Spark Toro. It's more for marketing people, marketing agencies, but advisors can get on there. It's pretty user friendly. It's got a great interface, and you can actually do a lot with the free account. Just get on there and start looking up. You can actually you can pick a website that a lot of your target audience might be on or might visit, and then it'll show you how they engage with different platforms, right? So for the KPMG audience that I was just talking about, like you could see tech professionals like that individual I talked to, hey, which of the social channels are they most are they most likely to be on? And so you can kind of see like which one you should focus on as your primary role, or if you shouldn't do LinkedIn at all. Not sure I said that like very coherently, Stephen, but does that make sense?
No, we're there. Yeah, I think that's perfect.
Um, okay, so you think I think advisors could get into a tool like Spark Toro, right? Like if they were doing their own marketing, and they were trying to think through, like, okay, let's say that I only because we know some of the established professionals in the field, like Kendra Wright, Taylor Schulte, they're talking pretty consistently about trying to pick one platform to really focus on, to really like lean into all of your marketing efforts, make sure you get the best bang for your buck. Spark Toro would be a good place to start if you were trying to do that, don't you think, Steven?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. It's like you said, there's a free version of it. If you're just Yeah, so I think shout out to Taylor and Kendra, friends of the program. They do a great job breaking this down on their podcast. If you haven't listened to it yet, I'll share that. It's called Advisor Marketing Made Simple. Very tactical advice, and they do kind of like case study, kind of working through different advisor marketing challenges and helping them position and market themselves better. Um, Hopefully that does it justice. Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, especially if you're to the point where you are thinking about niching down or trying to segment your audience or you're trying to be more intentional about your marketing. If you're not even there yet, where you're like, we speak to a lot of firms who have been around for 20, 30, 40 years, and they're just trying to establish a pulse on
Yeah.
anything really, like on LinkedIn or anything. I think it's a great place to start there too. Like, just even if you just think about your ideal clients and you don't have it super well defined who your niche could be or should be or that, but you just think about the clients that you most enjoy working with, and then use Spark Toro as a tool to kind of help you like navigate that. And maybe I think what it'll do is help you clarify the path, right? To which channels you should be focusing on. That's where we're trying to go. So, it's like, yeah, a simple, pretty user-friendly research tool, like you said, help you clarify the path of picking the right channels, whether you're new to all this or you're more advanced. There's kind of different levels of what all you want to get into, but at the very least, it should help clarify, I think, where your target personas are living, what channels they're on the most, and therefore where you should be spending your time creating a strategy for said channel.
Yeah, I love that.
That's how I'd try to
Okay, so
summarize
let's
that.
say,
Yeah.
yeah, that was beautiful. No, it was really
Oh,
good.
thanks. Really? Jeez.
Yeah, I would say,
Beautiful.
okay, so let's say you've determined, let's say you've gone through the process of what you're just talking about, and now you're gonna get into LinkedIn. Okay. Um, so some fundamentals that we talk about with all of our clients and help them with. So your profile, I know it seems like a given, right? But your profile is so important. So just a couple of things, right? Make sure you have follow first. You can go into your settings and do that versus connect first. The reason we say that is it's a easier path to grow a following if someone can just hit follow versus if they have to ask you to connect with you. So that's one of the first things we do. Make sure you have a headline, which is like the thing right underneath your profile that explains exactly what you do to your target audience, or how you help them. So a way that we like to do that with the role is we'll have like helping business owners achieve blah 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 with like a little line, and then it has the actual name of your role and the company, right? So the reason that you want to have that is because that is what shows up with your profile picture when you do commenting or when you're doing any sort of engagement or interaction. Um, that's one of the reasons you want to have a really nice, engaging headline so that it can be compelling enough so that people can click in and actually visit your profile. So let's go back to your profile real quick. So a really good profile pic that shows your face. And I say that because like not all headshots in terms of the focus that you do will show your face. Sometimes they'll show you back a little bit, like I'm back from the camera right now. And that's not as engaging as a nice face right up in the front of the image. And again, that's the reason like we want your face to be shown as like a compelling, attractive face. Not even saying anything about what you look like, but just your face itself to be something that's visibly appealing to people when you're engaging across different parts of the platform. So your personal profile and your headline are so important because that's what shows up everywhere, right? And then with that too, your banner that you have behind your face when someone actually clicks in, really important that that looks really good, reflects your brand, is consistent with your branding guidelines for your firm, and has some really good information there. Maybe short tagline about what you do as well that kind of complements, supplements what you have for your headline in the actual text. Um, we spend some time, helping our clients with their personal profiles because they're so valuable, right? I kind of the way I talk to clients about it is like your profile page is like your web. It's like another website page for you. It's like you've done your work commenting or engaging or doing all these other things, and then they actually click in and look at your profile. Like we want that to be an incredible first impression and explain exactly in like 3 to 5 seconds, exactly what you do and how you'll help them, just like we would a website page. Because people don't like to go off the platform, right? They're on their mobile, they're on their desktop. They don't want to jump off to another page. They want to stay on. And so there's a lot of value in spending some time just fundamentally just getting your profile in a really good spot. I think, the about section is like the next step. And some of those other things, making sure you have your credentials and everything up to date, that's all really good too. You want to have that. But those three things I mentioned, the profile picture, the headline, the banner, those are table stakes. Not to, quote one of my friends from Goldman Sachs that I've interacted with who kept using table stakes. But those are table stakes to make sure that you're going to have a successful LinkedIn campaign.
What he kept saying,
Would you add
table
anything to
stakes?
that? He was like kept saying that's table stakes. That's table
Oh, it's
stakes.
table stakes.
So that was a good interaction
Nice.
in the
Yeah,
industry.
that
Yeah.
sounds fun. Yeah. Yeah, no, outside on top of the table stakes, then I think some of the other ones that have stuck out to me, some of the firms or some of the individuals rather who've I think made the most of their profile. They're doing the storytelling right there on their profile also, which is,
Yeah.
specific to that. Say it's the KPMG folks, specific to their common challenges, specific to how you help solve it. And it's built like a case study and it's like telling a story, ideally through a video, but if not, could be text, could be a post of, what was the challenge, what insight and perspective and expertise did you bring, and then now what's it look like for them, because you want those people, if you're really trying to focus on those KPMG folks, yeah, you want them to come to your profile and then once they're there resonate with what you're showing. So those are really powerful. Like compliance is always a factor, but you've got to get them once you get them through compliance, doing that storytelling right on your profile. You can do that with featured
So
posts,
you're saying like the
featured
right
media.
the featured posts,
Yeah.
making sure that they're up
Yeah.
there. Okay, like the
Featured
ones that are
post,
highlighted.
featured media, you could call it, right? Yeah. Could be a video or post, whatever it is, but pin it and feature it. So it's like one of the top things people see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Um, okay, so just a couple to bring Kendra Wright back up again, but also Samantha Russell, so two very well known marketers in the space. Two things that I feel like I've heard from them that I just think is brilliant. The first is, I think it was Samantha Russell for this one. She has talked about for advisors in terms of growing their audience, putting a calendar block of 15 minutes every Friday on their calendar, and then they would just go back through everyone they met with for the week and try to connect with them on LinkedIn. The beauty of this is that it creates like a system for you to try to continue to grow your LinkedIn audience. And you don't have to work as hard. When you've met with them, it makes perfect sense why you would connect with them on LinkedIn. So you don't have to do a lot of work on like figuring out what your message is going to be to them or like customizing it. You just reach out, find their name on LinkedIn and connect. And over weeks and months, years, you grow your audience significantly like that in a systematic way. I just thought that was a brilliant tip, a brilliant
Yeah.
way of thinking about it. And I've tried to tag Samantha Russell and give her the shout out, but I haven't been able to get the reply. So I'll keep working on
She's
that.
a bigwig, dude.
And
She's
then
tough to get a hold of.
I
Hopefully
know,
she hears this.
I know.
Hi, Samantha.
No,
Yeah.
she's on the future
We're big
proof stage
fans.
somewhere.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
And
know.
then the second thing is, and this was Kendra Wright and Taylor that talked about this. If you're really serious about LinkedIn as a platform, and this pains my soul a little bit, right? Like to do this because I love following other marketers. But if you're an advisor who really wants to focus on your audience, you can go in and filter out your advisory friends to show on your feed or your advisory colleagues. And you can just focus in on the audience that you want to attract, the people that you're following, the people that you're connected with that fit your target audience. Because here's the thing, like you have a limited amount of time in real estate in your mind every time you get on LinkedIn and start looking through the feed. This is going to be really important for our discussion of commenting here in a second. But you have a limited amount of time in real estate to be able to engage with the people that you want to be in front of, right? And so your advisory friends, especially the ones that are in marketing, other colleagues in the space, you might want to stay connected with them, but you spending time engaging with their content just takes you away from the time that you're going to spend in front of your target audience. So
Right.
you want to be engaging with topics and events and things that the people that you want to attract care about the most. And so you can go in and customize your feed so that only the kinds of people that you want showing up are showing up. And it makes me sad to think about, right? Because technically I should be doing that for all financial advisors, and I love following financial advisory content, but that means I would have to like nix all the marketing stuff if I was going to follow that,
Tough
right?
to practice what you preach.
Um,
Also, you're not in
you
a
got to
business development
yeah,
role. Like you're not asked or responsible to bring in more clients
that's
for
true.
our agency. So, in a lot of times, financial advisors are. I mean, some are in a service only kind of
That's a
role,
good
but
point. That's a
yeah.
really good point.
So I'll let you. Yeah, you get a obviously free pass there.
Yeah, they'll give me a free
It's
pass.
okay.
I
Keep
appreciate
following the
that.
marketers, all the fun marketers. There is a ton of, but I guess to your point back earlier, there's so much good information on there too. That's a tricky one. You can unfollow people.
Yeah,
I think even just starting off, like being aware of it would be helpful because I could see somebody arguing this or not arguing, but a counterpoint would be well, I get a lot of good ideas from my advisory friends or other people in the
sure.
space that are posting, or you could capture a different perspective, or there's a lot of value in that too. And then, bringing that to your clients or to your approach as an advisor. So, but it's just, I think like being aware of that so that you're not just like, say you do have some time and say LinkedIn is a channel for you and you're spending time on there. You just don't want to get sucked into just all this kind of
Yeah,
vacuum of the advisory world. And then like, you're not generating more brand awareness with the people who really matter, which would be your prospective clients. So you have to be aware of it. And if you're guilty of just liking and commenting on other advisors all day and not really interacting or seeing anything
yeah.
outside of that, then maybe you got to take a harder stance and start to unfollow those people. Yeah,
Well, yeah, and you don't even need to necessarily unfollow them. You can just filter out how they appear in your feed. So,
that's what I meant. I'm sorry. Yeah, like see less
It's
of
like the
this.
old school Facebook. It's like the old school Facebook friends where you would just block
Yeah,
them, but not unfriend them. So they
yeah.
wouldn't know.
That's
So
right.
yeah, you just kind of think
Unfollow
the
this
same
person, right?
approach.
Yeah. I just did this. I'm not on Facebook very much, but I am for our nonprofit fundraiser. I need to get on there because it is a good platform for me to fundraise. So, anyways, I get on there and I'll see these posts from like my aunt's neighbor back in Ohio, and I'm like, it's like some crazy political thing, and it's all just
Yeah,
fire, and it's just like, what is going on? Why is this showing up? So Facebook has like, of course, 17 different options for what you want to see from that person going forward. It's like you used to just be able to like block or not let them know, but now it's like you can pick all kinds of different frequencies that you'll see their posts from now on, and if you only want to let it last 30 days versus 90 and all this nonsense. Anyhow, it's
yeah,
kind of like that. LinkedIn is just way simpler, right? It's just like, okay, you still be connected with the person, but then
yeah,
their posts won't show up in your feed like they were before, so it's not as
yeah. I guess the
distracting for you.
big point of this is like to know that you can customize your feed on LinkedIn and kind of a similar capacity to what you're talking about on Facebook, Stephen. So if anyone's listening to this, you can just go look it up on Google, like how do I customize my feed on LinkedIn, and you find some pretty good
Yeah.
like step by step instructions
The
on how
other
to do
the
that.
other beautiful outcome of doing what Samantha Russell suggested is, when you're connecting with people who you've met with, it could be prospects. It should definitely be prospects and clients, but then of course you'll grow your audience that way. But then you're growing it with the right people, and the beauty of it then is if LinkedIn is a platform for you and you're posting and so on, it's great for your own clients too. Like we spend a lot of time thinking about how to market to our own clients. Like, let's spend time marketing to our clients because we know only good things happen if we do that, which is more
Yeah,
referrals and deeper wallet share. So, and when I say market to your clients, like the thought leadership stuff you're posting, the tips and tricks, the Roth conversion strategies, things like that. Yes, you'll be talking about that with your clients, like one on one, ideally, and most of that is covered. But you never know. There's probably things that your clients would be learning from your LinkedIn posts that could lead to more referrals or deeper wallet share. At the very least, it makes you seen as a thought leader and an expert showing up in their feed and reassures them, right, that they're in good hands with you. So I think that's sort of like a secondary benefit maybe, but we don't talk about that enough of like, I've
Yeah.
had this in our situation where I post more on LinkedIn. I kind of ebb and flow. Maybe I have a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn as well myself now that I reflect on it, but I'll post more on it for a given time period, like a couple months, few months, whatever. And then clients will bring it up like, oh yeah, I saw that, or I have some like old prospects that I haven't talked to in a long time that will like re-engage all of a sudden. I'm like, I don't think this is a coincidence. It's definitely a
Oh
benefit
yeah.
of
There's a
of
correlation to it.
yeah, for sure. So anyhow, only good things happen when your clients hear from you more often, whether that's directly or kind of in this model where they're seeing you in their feed.
That's a really good point. We actually had a client last week who brought that up, said that they had like a 12, $13 million prospect that was a referral, but on they just had found out within the last like couple of days that the reason that the referral happened was because of the content that he was posting, right? It brought top of mind to the client, like, oh, hey, forwarded it to his friend and was like, hey, check this out, led
Yeah,
to a discovery call that now they're going to end up signing this 12, $13 million client. Like that's the beauty. That's the whole
beautiful.
thing of like what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Which is just, gets me
Yeah, and a lot of
excited
times
even
that
thinking
stuff
about it.
happens. You don't even know it's happening. Like they'll forward your.
Yeah.
This happens with email newsletters quite a bit too. They'll forward your email newsletter because the content's so good, or it's personal and it resonates with them and whatnot, and they forward it. You have no idea, but then over time, more and more that happens, the more referrals you're going to get, and you can track it. If you're doing a good job asking where they're coming from, you can track it back to these activities, which is cool. Okay.
Okay. So getting into some of the nitty gritty around LinkedIn. So the next thing we want to talk about is commenting. I don't feel like commenting gets enough love in terms of the discussion. I think everyone likes to talk about the posting. What do you post? What do you post? And I would argue that, especially for people that are starting off on LinkedIn or haven't gotten a lot of great engagement or don't have a big audience, commenting is more powerful than posting, right? And I know that's like a little bit of a bold comment to say, but commenting can get more awareness and engagement and impressions than a lot of times posts can, especially in this new LinkedIn world where they're trying to get everybody to pay just to show to your followers, right? And so, what do I mean by that? I mean that um, you want to be able to find where your target audience might be engaging in terms of other people's posts, and you want to provide a really high value, thoughtful post that gets traction in addition to the original post. The way I like that, I've seen this phrase before, is it's like the Waffle House Walmart strategy, right? Walmart
Two
obviously is a
great
massive,
institutions. Yeah, I can't wait to
oh,
see
just
where this
wonderful,
goes.
yeah, just incredible institutions.
Yeah,
Well,
as
the
American as
thought
it
process
gets.
is that Waffle House, in terms of doing their research on where to create their new stores or where to turn old house or old buildings into the new Waffle House locations, they look first at where the Walmarts are and the high trafficked roads that lead up to wherever Walmart is in a particular neighborhood, and they put their location right next to the Walmart on the most trafficked road. And the
Nice.
idea is that
Yep.
the same clientele that are going to Walmart are going to be the same clientele that want to stop by and eat at Waffle House. And I love this analogy when thinking about LinkedIn because it's so applicable. You want to find your Walmarts that where your target audience is engaging, right? Like you want to find the big accounts that consistently get really good engagement, consistently get a lot of like great feedback from people that you're trying to attract. And just like Waffle House, you want to put your comments in their posts, right? Because on the way to Walmart, on the way to looking at those accounts, I don't know if I'm beating this analogy to death.
No, no,
On the way
can't
at
get
looking
enough
at
of it.
those
Yeah.
accounts, they're going to see your high value comment, right? And they're because this is what people do on LinkedIn, right? Like I do that. I do that across all my platforms. I'm engaging with something. I want to see what other people said. So I
Yep.
see that comment come up to the top, and if it's something thoughtful that adds insight into what the first person said, and is like a compelling thought, then you have a much higher likelihood of it being seen, first of all. But then number two, remember your profile pic and your nice headline. That if that's compelling enough with your comment, people are going to want to click into your profile and learn a little bit more about you. And then you might get a follow, right? They might be able to follow you if you have your little follow first tag, so that you might get in their feed more. But if nothing else, you've created that awareness based on your initial comment. So this to me is like the number one way. I wish that I could get every advisor that I work with where we determine that LinkedIn's going to be a channel. I'm like, hey man, hey you, if we can just if you can spend 10 to 15 minutes a day just doing like 3 or 4 or 5 comments, it goes so far. It does
Yeah.
such a phenomenal thing. Because there's reciprocity too in the way the LinkedIn algorithm works. Is that if you're commenting before, after, around when you post, there's a much higher likelihood and more engagement that you're going to get, not just from the people that you've commented, but people they're associated with on whenever you post, right? So I say this with a lot of passion because I wish it's such a hard thing for an agency to do. And it's hard too for the advisors because in paying us, um, I do think like it's hard to envision like getting on there and like commenting 10 to 15 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day because you guys have a lot of things that you're doing. It's much harder for us to identify those like the thoughts that you might have based on a post, right?
Hmm.
Um, so that's why it's a little bit tricky for us and then compliance and us like going through. But if you have those thoughts and you have those insights and you're willing to do it, it can blow up your LinkedIn marketing. It really can. So I don't know. Do you feel like I'm a little bit too fired up, Steven,
No,
about
no,
it?
no, no such thing. I love that analogy. I've seen that. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with our clients, like you said. Again, we've had clients that kind of come and go on this. We teach them or tell them or share best practices about how to do this and what they should be doing and how it works, and then you will see the analytics, like just you'll see the spikes and you'll see the increase in impressions and the increase in profile views, the increase in followers from the commenting strategy. But it is hard. Yeah, it takes time.
Oh yeah.
You have to. I mean, that's why I've fallen off of it. Hand up. I'm guilty of it. Like I've done it before, but it's also like, man, it just you have to manage your time doing it, I guess. And just
Yeah.
make it. If LinkedIn is truly a key part of your strategy, commenting should be in there, and then you'll make it a priority with in your calendar, however you want to block off your time and do it, and be consistent with it. But it is tougher because you have to bring some new. You can't just say, "Oh my gosh, great post," congratulations on the new job.
Yeah.
That's not valuable. It's not adding any kind of new insight. You really have to think about. Doesn't have to be a hot take, but just, hey, great post. Something I would add is this, or hey, great post. Here's another thing that you didn't mention that I thought would be helpful, or hey, great post. Here, in my experience, I've actually seen it work like this. It's a little bit different than what you said. What say you? That kind of thing. So that takes a little bit more thought and time. But again, I think for LinkedIn, it definitely pays off if LinkedIn is part of your core marketing strategy. So I love the Waffle House. So everyone here is going to be, Walmart Waffle House fans. We already know that. So now that
Yeah.
analogy should stick in everybody's mind.
All all
If
of
you want
our
to,
all of our
yeah,
advisory clients are great Walmart target audiences,
yeah, I could
right?
see, yeah,
Like
yeah,
for the
of
most
course,
part.
yeah. Everybody shops at Walmart and eats at Waffle House. Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that would be a stretch. I honestly, I can't. I'm picturing like maybe one or two of our clients actually sitting down into a Waffle House and
Just
having
sitting
a
down with the
meal.
family at Waffle House? I don't know.
Jeez,
Yeah,
that would
it
be a
might be a
stretch.
stretch. Depends on what
Yeah.
time of the day or what time in the morning.
And also, side note,
So
Walmart. I mean, just oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, that's a whole other podcast. I guess
yeah,
that we
we
won't
do.
get into.
We'll do it.
Anyhow, yeah, set up
We'll
your
do a
Waffle
different
Houses.
different theme
Find your
podcast.
WalMarts. Find your WalMarts. Set up your Waffle Houses. The beauty of it too is like in that moment, you'll get some instant boost in impressions and profile viewers and so on. But also the comment, if it's a good post of somebody who has a big following, they will be
Yeah.
getting views on that post for days, and so your comment's just kind of sitting there, so if it's good enough, yeah, they will stack rank comments based on what's most relevant, and so if it's a really good comment, you'll get surfaced to the top, and that'll just sit there, so you can kind of build your Waffle Houses that way. Cool.
Yeah, the best is in the manufacturing field, I think is behind even the advisory space in terms of, I don't know, marketing and just like where everyone's at. And we were all the time in trying to help some of our manufacturing clients, Stephen, find these like perfect target audience posts that would have like 50 likes or insightful or engagements and like no comments. And I would show them how to identify. I'm like, that is what you want right here, because that's going to
Yeah.
continue to get shown around and you're the only one that's commented on it. So
There's
like
thousands
that
of
is
people
like the
looking
most
at the
beautiful
post,
thing in
no
the world.
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that like one with 50 comments is going to have more engagement because LinkedIn prioritizes comments, but it's easier to get lost in the shuffle there unless there's like a really engaging uh,
Yeah.
commenting going on. But man, if you can get that one like really insightful comment on a
So
post that's continually seen, yeah.
So where do you go then? We find your Walmarts for like the KPMG folks. Like figure out where their Walmarts are. I doubt KPMG people are really shopping at Walmart in real life or in this analogy,
Yeah.
but they definitely have some version of that. What are they following? Like, is it trade publications? Is it like news outlets? Is it, I don't know. Just think about like what they could be following. Again, you can do your Spark Toro
Yeah, like
research. You can
tech,
do your
like big,
LinkedIn
like
research to figure this out.
yeah, like engaging like tech news type company posts. Like with a bunch of
Yeah,
current events.
Crunchbase or
There's
that kind of
there's
stuff.
always
Yeah,
influencers. There's always influencers in the space trying to get them from another type of service, right? That they're trying to offer insights on, and then like, you can go in there and add the financial element to it.
yeah,
So it takes a little bit of research. That's for sure, figuring it out. But the more you start engaging and connecting, like we've been talking about with your target audience, you're going to see the things they're engaging with, and it'll just be like a light bulb moment for you. Like I see this one person get all this engagement, right? Like this one writer or this guy for stockoptions.com is always getting shared and liked by all these professionals. Like, boom, I'm going to make sure for him, I do an insightful comment to whatever story or article he presents. It's like
yeah.
that's kind of what you want, how you want to think about it.
Nice.
Um,
Beautiful.
okay, so let's say that you are just, you're getting into commenting, you're getting all sorts of profile views. People are following you. You're connecting with everyone. You have a beautiful profile photo. People are commenting on how nice you look. What are you
Yeah.
actually going to start posting? Right. So we've done a couple of episodes on uh, personal versus company, and kind of how you focus on your personal brand versus your company brand, or your firm brand. And so the same thing goes on LinkedIn, right? You have your company or firm profile, and then you have your personal profile. And so we have a whole episode dedicated to this, but just for the purpose of this episode, we'll just say, you know, people want to follow a person, right? Your personal accounts are going to get much better engagement. So we like to kind of draw a distinction between the company accounts, which your company, you can highlight firm milestones, new employee announcements. You can share client testimonials, reviews. You could talk about your firm's process. You can
Team
share like
features.
differentiate, yeah, team features, spotlights on your team. Um, but you can't really expect like I like to do those spotlights and whatnot because you kind of take advantage of the fact that your company is not going to get as good of engagement. So you do the thing that gets the most engagement, right? Which are big pictures of people celebrating people. We're all like Facebook fans at heart, even on LinkedIn. We all like to engage with people's faces and celebrate people. So I like doing a lot of those on the company account because you can kind of like offset the fact that it's not going to do as well on the personal level. It also makes more sense, right? Coming from your firm that's highlighting, particular staff members or team members. Your personal accounts, that's where you really want to get into the thought leadership, the personal reflections, the tackling of the complex financial challenges, current events that are going on, your thoughts on certain circumstances that a lot of people in your niche are talking about. Um, and we really like this coin, the term coined by this marketing leader, Justina C. I think she coined this back in 2024. It's called
S-
the marketing waiting room. Oh wait, can you want to try it? The name?
No, I was just gonna say we are just calling her Justina C because we can't pronounce
Yeah.
her last name. It's just, yeah, it'd almost just be a
We gotta
slap in the
put
face to her if we even
we'll
try.
give
I mean,
her
it's so
a
bad.
shout out.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll give her a shout out. Sorry about that.
Sisurska.
Yeah,
It's something
Sasirska, I
along
like
those
that.
lines. Okay, we'll
Yeah,
go with that.
because it instead of talking about like, okay, so what to post when you talk about thought leadership or story element, on the personal account, I think the funnel analogy can kind of be a little bit tricky, or like the whole linear marketing funnel doesn't really work so well anymore. And I think she simplifies it really well. Like you have people that are in the sales waiting room. This is like the people that would be traditionally at the bottom of the funnel. The sales waiting room are like ready to move forward or comparing vendors or like actively looking for an advisor. And then you have most of the people, which is like 90-95%, that are in the marketing waiting room. And that's really where you're trying to create a mental, like you want to occupy this mental space of the prospect, right? So that they lock you away, that you're top of mind for them. They lock you away associated with a particular idea or something that you do. And that's so you kind of become the people they think about when they're ready to get into the sales waiting room. Um, you can obviously create demand based on the posts that you do, but in reality, you're really just trying to be the thing that the vendor, the firm, the advisor they think about as associated with topics that you care about solving. And so they get down into like, okay, so what would be marketing waiting room topics that you would want to talk about? Just think about your audience, the complexities of the challenges that they face, and tell stories about how you've solved them, right? I mean, just talk about how they've come to you, or don't use any of the actual names, but hone in on those challenges and spread those across all of your posts, all the various challenges, and talk through how you would solve them. So you educate them and you differentiate yourself at the same time. Would you add anything to that, Stephen?
No, I think that's well said. Yeah, as much storytelling as possible. Yeah, that's where you want to look at, like, yeah, the educational posts. There's so much education to be shared that you have. Just one of our clients just did this on LinkedIn about charitable giving and how you can donate appreciated stock, and difference between doing that and donor advised funds versus just making a donation, things like that. What's the breakdown? What's the difference? What are the pros and cons of all those things? Um, if
Yeah.
you think your audience is interested in philanthropy, right, which his is, so it's a perfect topic, and he's got plenty to share on it and plenty of good first person stories to tell there too. So yeah, no, that's yeah, straightforward. So that's the
Yeah.
marketing waiting room.
Yeah, marketing waiting room. And I would say that the best posts on LinkedIn, and this is very difficult to do, but the best posts are ones that weave some personal storytelling into the educational learning. And what I mean by that, just there was an incredible example from one of our clients that wrote about him deciding to get a personal trainer, and he related the whole thing to like his hesitancy to dive into something new, and how he knew that he could do it, but then he didn't have the level of accountability, and he integrated that into a discussion around how a lot of his target audience struggles with the feeling of trying to potentially like get help with their finances, and how there's like real emotional challenges there, and here's how they were solved. It was just beautifully well done. It was like an educational post that was weaved into his personal life. And if you can do that, uh first of all, you're a great writer, but those are the ones that continue to do the best on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So that might feel like a tall task for some of the people listening, but it's just kind of an exemplar of like what you would want to shoot for. I think your example, Stephen, about gifting appreciated stock, donor advised funds, et cetera, like strategies for the different pros and cons. That's a good place to start based on what your audience might be struggling with.
nice. Yeah, so we have marketing waiting room and we have sales waiting room, from our friend here, Justina C. So how often, kind of what's the content mix then?
Yeah.
I bring this up from before. Um, it applies to LinkedIn. You can't just be you can't just come with your content from the sales waiting room, the bottom of the funnel stuff. pushing people just over that final edge to work with you. You can't just do that all the time because people are going to get worn out from it, and it's not helpful. You won't build your brand uh, to the people who don't know you yet. You'll struggle with it. So you have to have some kind of diversified mix. So as a rule of thumb, we would say focus on your marketing waiting room for, let's say you're doing 6 posts across 2-3 weeks. Make 5 of those posts, marketing waiting room type of topics, educational, weave in the storytelling, weave in the personal reflections, that kind of thing. And then one out of those 6 posts could be a sales waiting room type of post, like you highlight a client review or a testimonial. You talk about the difference between a differentiator between you and the next firm, like something that's a little bit more further down the funnel, and just weave those in. But if you do that 100%, this is what I see. It's like a very common LinkedIn mistake. It's just people just talking about themselves the whole time, like just why we're great, why we're the best. Go check out this page on our website that is about our new
Yeah.
tax planning service, whatever it is. It's just people get tired of it. It's not that helpful. It's only helpful for like a very small percentage of people that are at that stage, kind of in their journey. And so most of the people, you're going to want to serve up this content that's a little bit more top of the funnel. Yeah, that's more educational, that's more storytelling driven. So jab, 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 hook kind of thing. So hopefully I said 5 jabs there. But you can't just throw hooks
No.
the whole time unless you're Mike Tyson. You got to pace yourself. You got to give the audience kind of what they can handle. Those would be jabs, and then throw a hook in there. That's
Yeah, I
my,
love that.
and
I
not as
think we
good as the
should.
Walmart Waffle House analogy, but that'd be mine,
No, I
my
appreciate. I think
analogy
we
for this
should weave in
podcast.
some sort of sports euphemism, for each episode. Just
Yeah,
see who our target audience is really, what they like.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Hopefully they're into Mike Tyson jokes. So yeah.
okay, and then like last thing is just okay, post format. So kind of avoided talking about this for a while. This is really like what everyone wants to know. Everyone always asks us, what do they say, Stephen? They say, when's the best time to
When
post?
should I post? Yeah,
And the right answer to that is when your target audience is engaging. That's what everyone says. But the real answer to that is it doesn't really matter that much from our perspective. I mean, yeah, if you post in the middle of the night or if you post uh, on a weekday or on a weekend really early in the morning, you probably aren't going to get as good engagement. But really, we haven't seen that massive of a difference. We've had some posts that do great on Saturday afternoon and some posts in that beautiful Tuesday morning 9 a.m. time slot that don't pan out as well. So if you really want to be sophisticated about it, you can find out like exactly when your audience is, if you have your KPMG employees that get to the office at 9:15 and, they're ready to engage with LinkedIn per their company directive, then that would probably be the best time to post. But we usually err on what, like Tuesday to Thursday in the morning, late
yeah,
morning being a pretty good time frame.
yeah. Middle of the week. I'd say more important than worrying about the time of the day or the time of day. Probably more realistic or more important would be, if you're going to take our advice on the Waffle House Walmart strategy with commenting, which you should if you're going to take LinkedIn seriously, then just figure out the block that works for you, where you can do some commenting work for 30 minutes before, and you can make the post, and you do
Yeah.
some commenting work 30 minutes following. Like, I mean, for me personally, that's what I found. Which that time block is going to vary per each person. Usually, that's in the morning. You got to eat the frog in the morning, but it might be, excuse me, it might be towards the end of the day when your client meetings are wrapping up, or on a certain day when you don't have as many client meetings, or wherever you feel the most fresh, where it works in your schedule, where you can bookend it with the commenting. That would be the best time to post. So it's yeah,
Completely agree with that.
I think a matter of preference and time management more than whether your post is going to get 15% more reach if you do it on Tuesday at 8:30 versus Thursday at 4 p.m. I mean, if it's a good post, if you've bookended it with the commenting, you're gonna
Yeah.
get more reach and better results than you would have otherwise. So don't worry too much about I'd say that, yeah, don't worry too much about this specific time. Just try to block your calendar and get it done. So, yeah, we spend so
Yeah.
much time. I'm guilty of this. I spend so much time thinking about like, okay, I've got this good post. It's taking me a while to get it ready. I'm excited about it, but like, oh, now it's Friday at 2:30, and no one's gonna see it, and I guess I should wait. And just putting too much stock into the LinkedIn algorithm versus, yeah, like focusing on my own schedule and the commenting strategy, and then letting it rip, and then just being consistent with it, like doing it multiple times a week, ideally. So that'd be more important than the
Yeah.
reach analytics.
I really agree. And one thing we have said is like commenting with replying to anybody who comments on your posts too. That really helps in that first hour.
Yeah, you got. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, that's
Uh,
table stakes. I figured everyone
oh
already was
yeah.
doing that, but you get some comments on there. You got to thank people for showing up, coming to your house party, coming to your.
That's
They're
right.
your Waffle House. You got to go thank them for setting up a Waffle House around your Walmart, because it's you both benefit that way. So yeah, you got to thank them, and then ideally you can add something or ask them another question to kind of keep that comment string going. So be a bunch of little Waffle Houses all surrounding the Walmart that way.
Great. Okay, so like what text format? So this changes. It changes a lot, like throughout the year. LinkedIn makes changes. We follow this guy, Richard Von Bloom, which is my friend from Europe, and he is
Does he
a
know?
very
Does he know
successful
you?
creator. No, 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 no. I just call him my
Okay,
friend.
he's
But
so you're
he
like a
is a
lurking friend.
we have great data from our 15 plus clients on their LinkedIn and how they're doing that we share. But, his entire business is focused on selling how the LinkedIn algorithm is doing and teaching people how to do that. So they have, millions of data points that they're able to analyze. And so it really helps us to be able to see sort of like what they're seeing and have it validate what we're seeing from a client perspective. And so they've gone through and analyzed like formats in November 2025. And they've seen that like video posts themselves, they had a huge bump last year in like, the short form video where it would show like big, like TikTok style on mobile, but then also the more horizontal that show better on desktop. They're actually down a little bit, down 36% reach and 23% engagement from where they were at earlier this year, which makes sense. That's something that we've seen is that our video posts that were doing really great, the format last year, are not doing as well, right? So it doesn't mean they're doing poorly. It's just they've been kind of like neutralized a little bit from where they were at earlier in the year. And on the flip side, text and image posts, like where you would have like an infographic or an image of some sort, or even like a selfie of you, um, they're doing pretty well. They're up 4% reach since back in 2023 and up 15% engagement. So they've gone a little bit in the other direction, although not as substantially up as the video posts have gone down. He says carousel posts are still doing really well, and that's like with the document that you can scan through. We have not had a lot of success with carousel posts in this industry with the financial advisory firms. So, I like carousels, me personally, and in the marketing field, they're very popular, but advisory firms have not seen them do as well as like a really nice image or infographic with some compelling text.
Yep.
And then a couple of other things, something to note. So articles, right, and newsletters are actually up, and we have seen this up 48% reach and 45% engagement. So the longer form articles have been boosted algorithmically over the last year, and we have seen that with some of the articles that we've published on LinkedIn. We could do a whole nother episode on LinkedIn articles and newsletters, which we're not going to touch on, but that's a good way. We just did an announcement where we had really long disclosures that we still wanted to post on LinkedIn. It's a nice way to thread the needle of keeping them on the platform, right? Whereas you have limits on your actual posts for putting in, a 3-page disclosure. You can do that
Yeah.
more on LinkedIn articles, and they're actually doing much better post wise when you share them. So that's something to consider. And then finally, it's always been like a kind of a taboo to put in an external link. Um, into the post, but the post with external links, according to our friend Richard, are actually up 6% in reach and up 12% in engagement. So LinkedIn is not penalizing the posts with external links in them as much. And actually, posts that have 3 or more external links, so if you're providing resources out to like multiple sites, are doing better than ones with just one. So just something to consider. There's rules of thumb with LinkedIn, but the algorithm changes so much that unless you stay up to speed with it, you can't like say like all LinkedIn all posts with external links are bad, right? You might say, okay, we know it's going to suppress the reach a little bit, but it's super important to us to have the external link, and LinkedIn's actually not penalizing it as much as they were last year, so we're going to choose to do that. So
Hmm.
just a little bit more about formats. It's best, obviously, to have a variety of those formats, but hopefully that helps just in you thinking through a little bit how you might prioritize things moving forward. Did I miss
One thing
anything,
I'll add
Stephen?
about the links is just like you said, it depends, but what the links are and that kind of thing. But yeah, if you just go through you or your firm's last 20 posts and check out the number of comments, the number of likes or light bulbs or ha-has to each post, um, you'll be able to see some trends. I mean, you should be able to see some trends. I do this when we're just, if I'm talking to a prospect or to clients, generally speaking, if your link in your post is like, come check out our tax planning page again, just as that example, um, and you're trying to bring people off of LinkedIn and bring them to your website, usually those are going to perform pretty poorly. I know that Richard, your buddy Richard, your friend, uh, is saying that links are up in reach. Yes, they're up in reach. But I would still say overall they're still not giving them a ton of reach from the platform, because
Correct.
they
Yeah.
don't really want
Correct.
people to leave LinkedIn. They want, unless it's like what that other example where if you're doing an educational post and you've got some references, you've got some articles that you have referenced in your post or something that backs up one of your points, I could see that more. But if it's just like, hey, come check this out, it's all about us, like you're just not going to get those clicks. And so you just see those are
Yeah.
the posts that have like one like, and it's from somebody who already works at your firm. You're just not going to see a very good performance there. LinkedIn wants you to stay there and stay on the platform as long as possible so they can serve you more ads, so they can charge more for the ads. So it's better, as a rule of thumb, I guess, go back to this, is like give away the value in the post as much as you can so that people are there, so that they engage with it, and that will reward you with more reach. Like once LinkedIn sees that, they see that it's something that people are engaging with, and engaging as in like hitting the like button or ideally leaving a comment, then they'll give you more reach. But if it's just all about like, Merry
Yeah.
Christmas from our firm to you, and it come check out our website, it's just not, you're just not going to get a lot out of that. So we got to, if that's the case, you got to really rethink your editorial strategy from the ground up. But just as an example, try to give away the value kind of in the
Really,
post
that's a
as
real,
opposed to
yeah,
driving them off.
really good point. Yeah. I think one of the marketers coined it, like I keep talking about terms being coined, but they said like it's like putting money like into you're depositing money into a checking account every educational post that you do, and then every so often you're asking to withdraw some of the money, and that's like when you do a link
To bring them
externally
off of the platform.
to a
Nice.
website. Yeah, because you like
Yeah,
put
yeah.
money in there in the bank for them. They like learn to okay, and every now and then you can ask them to take some money out of the bank in terms of your credibility and go to an external link. But if you're just asking them to take money out of their account, you're very quickly going to go into the negative. And LinkedIn sees it like that too. Like they won't promote your
Nice.
posts.
Yeah, really good. All
Okay,
right.
so really, really detailed, probably way too long-winded discussion of LinkedIn. I guess we could summarize what we said in like your profile is really important. Commenting is just as important, if not more important than posts. 5 to 7 comments a day if you're getting started, even like 10 comments a week could vastly increase your reach.
If you're
Go
listening to
for
this and
like
you
two
do
to
10
three posts
comments
a
a
week.
week next week and they're good comments, you will see a huge
Oh my
uptick
gosh,
in
yeah.
impressions and followers, guaranteed. Yep.
Yeah, it usually ends
What
up like
else?
that. Yeah. So say like getting started like 2 to 3 posts a week with those comments, and you'll be in a really good spot moving forward.
Thanks so much for listening to Craft on Tap. Hopefully, you got some good insight and some practical steps out of this. If you'd like any other help with your LinkedIn profile or with thinking through your marketing strategy, we'd love to hear from you. Just send us a note, craftimpact.com. And yeah, we'd love to help. Right now, we are working with quite a few other RIAs who are growing through digital marketing, and we're helping them achieve net new AUM. So would love to do the same for you. We'd also love to share more Walmart, Waffle House analogies, more Mike Tyson references, more poor dad jokes. And so, yeah, we'd love to hear from you in general. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be back with more soon.
Thank you.